Christian aid ministries that you're a part of advocates nonviolence, and that's the Christian approach to dealing with our enemies. Even right is a nonviolent love. I mean, Christ tells us love our enemies, right? Love your enemies is a command that a lot of us listen to and we maybe give lip service to. You're put in a situation where you're directly there with your enemy, right? So how did your faith play out in that, and as far as how you were feeling toward your captors? And you obviously you didn't pick up the gun, you didn't try to do anything like that. Can you talk about how your faith kind of guided you a little bit in that?
Well, definitely all of us in our group had grown up in Christian homes, and we were very thankful for that. That was the reason we did know so many songs, and we did have scripture to guide us, even though we didn't have a Bible. And we had grown up with the teachings of Jesus and Jesus's principles on loving your enemies and not resisting, and just so. To us, I mean, it was already something that we had struggled with and, kind of thought about and made it our decision. And so in that situation, then you already kind of have those principles. And, I mean, they're put to the test at that point. But for me, I mean, I was not even, I mean, it wasn't a temptation. I do know, for different people, we each had to deal with it in our own way.
Sure.
And loving the guards was sometimes a daily struggle. When they do something that irritated us or whatever, we had to realize that we had to forgive them. We had to work through that, and there was times that our flesh wanted to see them suffer or whatever, but that was another thing that we had to pray about and ask God for help in that area. Is because it's not something that we can do on our own. It's something that God has to help us do. We can't love our enemies on our own. And so that became something that we added to our prayer requests and prayer list. God, help us to love these guards. Help us to see them through your eyes.
That's interesting. I was wondering if y'all talked about it, if it was something that came up in conversation.
It was.
Hey, I'm struggling with loving these people. And obviously, I think because there were a group of you there, it was not just an individual. You could lean on one another,
exactly.
Which I'm sure was a benefit. And it's a benefit in our daily Christian walk, right? I mean, that's why we need community, is to lean on one another in those times. But certainly, loving your enemies is not an easy thing. But you said earlier you could see the guards soften, you could see their faces change. Did you come to view them just as, hey, they're just people, they're just in a situation, or did you still always view them as, hey, they're an enemy, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Did you come to view them differently as time went on, as far as just them? Or I guess the tag of enemy, did that kind of fade as time went on, or did you always view them as the enemy?
I think that definitely faded, and we began to see that some of them definitely were in that situation because they didn't know any better, and that they had been brought up like that. They didn't have the blessing of growing up in Christian homes. They didn't have that teaching, and so some of them were in this situation of their own accord. Others, they had grown up in the gang. And so throughout the time, we kind of built relationships with them. And even now, there's things that we miss about them. We miss seeing their faces, and we definitely prayed a lot for them, which helps your heart soften towards them as well. When you pray for somebody, you can't stay angry at them. And it was definitely a discussion that we had among ourselves, and different people would say, hey, I'm really struggling with loving the guards today, and we'd pray for each other and encourage each other, and lift each other up in that. And definitely the community helped in that area. And the guards became definitely not as much of an enemy as they were at the beginning. And our prayer, it was and still is that they will see Jesus and that we will be able to meet many of them in heaven. We would love that. That's
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure you had a great impact on, you said something in there that is so critical, I think. When you pray for somebody, it's hard to stay mad at them. That's something that we all need to latch on to, from our wives, our families, the people that disagree with us for whatever reason, whether it's politically or some other reason that we're opposed to people. We can still love those people, and praying for them is a good way to do that, right? When you're praying a blessing on somebody, it's hard to stay mad with them. So I think that's a tremendous lesson.